Hello everyone, welcome to another video of Pharmacon tutorial. Today we will discuss about progestins and antiprogestins. So let's get started. Naturally occurring progestins are progesterone, a 21-carbon steroid derived from cholesterol. So these are secreted by the corpus luteum of the ovary in the later half of menstrual cycle under the influence of LH and by the placenta from second trimester of pregnancy. Now let us see how this progesterone acts. This progesterone receptors has limited distribution in the body, that is they are confined mostly to the female genital tract, breast, CNS and pituitary. Upon binding of the hormones, this progesterone receptors undergo dimerization and gets attached to the progesterone receptor element of the target gene and regulate the transcription through co-activators. Now let us see some of the actions of the progestin. Firstly, it maintains the pregnancy by maintaining the uterine endometrial layer. It also acts on the secretory phase of the menstrual cycle by maturing and proliferating the endometrial glands. It decreases the fallopian tube motility and decreases the uterine contraction and thus favoring pregnancy. It is hostile to the sperm penetration by converting the watery cervical secretions to viscid, thick and acidic. In the breast, this progesterone causes proliferation of the acini. It prepares the breast for lactation, and withdrawal of these hormones after the delivery will cause release of the prolactin and milk secretion starts. It also causes hyperglycemia on prolonged use as oral contraceptives and will impair glucose tolerance. It increases the LDL and lowers the HDL. It favors fat deposition by increasing the lipoprotein lipase activity. It has mineralocorticoid activity, hence causes sodium water retention and leads to edema. It increases the body temperature by resetting the hypothalamic thermostat and increasing the heat production. And it also inhibits the synthesis of the estrogen receptors. Progesterone, in contrast to estrogens, have negative feedback both on the hypothalamus and pituitary and thus decreases the FSH and LH secretion and will inhibit ovulation. Now let us see the uses of progestin. First of all, they can be used in contraception as combined pill, mini pill and depot preparations. In combination with estrogen, it will prevent some unwanted effect of the estrogen like breast, endometrial cancer, etc. And how it acts as contraceptive is by producing a thick mucus plug and preventing sperm entry by inhibiting the FSH and LH. By inhibiting FSH, there is no follicle growth, and by inhibiting the LH, there will be no ovulation. And secondly, it is used in the dysfunctional uterine bleeding. Due to irregular breakdown of the overgrowth of the endometrium, there is chance for the dysfunctional uterine bleeding. So progestins can be used to prevent the overgrowth of the endometrium. In this therapy, initially high dose is given to arrest the bleeding and later maintenance dose is given for 28 days. Progesterone also finds its use in endometriosis, that is the abnormal endometrium growth outside the uterus. And how this progesterone can be used is, it can inhibit the ovulation and induce anovulatory cycles. So as long as there is progesterone, there won't be ovulation. So if there is no ovulation, there is no estrogen dependent proliferation of the endometrium. This progesterone can also be used in hormone replacement therapy in postmenopausal women in association with estrogen to antagonize the unwanted effect of estrogen such as endometrial proliferation, and for the same reason we can use it for endometrial carcinoma also. This progesterone can be used to postpone the periods. This is because we can know that it maintains the endometrial layer, so it can be used to postpone the period. It can be used in combination with estrogen, and 5 days before expected period it is administered. The withdrawal bleeding occurs within 72 hours after stoppage of the drug. Now about the ADR. The ADR associated with this drug acne, fluid retention, weight gain, depression, irregular periods, hirsutism, that is mainly due to androgenic action, then hyperglycemia and breast cancer. Now let us see some of the progesterone preparations. So progesterone preparations include natural, that is progesterone, but it is not effective orally because of its first pass metabolism, and it is usually given by IM route in oil base. And the second category is the synthetic progesterone. These synthetic progesterones are more preferred. They are of two types, progesterone derivatives and nortestosterone derivatives. These synthetic progesterone derivatives include medroxyprogesterone acetate, hydroxyprogesterone caprate, and megestrol acetate. And again, the second category, that is the nortestosterone derivatives, include norethindrone, norgestrel, levonorgestrel, desogestrel, gestodin, and norgestimate. Finally, let us have a look at the antiprogestins. Antiprogestins are competitive antagonists of the progestins. They have a luteolytic property, that is, they can destroy the corpus luteum. They have anti-glucocorticoid and anti-androgenic activities as well. The chief anti-progestin and the only drug to remember is the mifepristone. Mifepristone is orally effective and has long plasma half-life. They are metabolized in liver, excreted in bile, and undergoes enterohepatic cycling. This drug is used for abortion, this termination of the pregnancy. It can be used as postcoital contraceptive, used for the induction of labor in case of intrauterine fetal death. And the side effects include nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain, headache, uterine bleeding, and teratogenicity. And this is all about progestins and antiprogestins.